Entrepreneurship has never been more important than it is today. We are living through a time of profound change. Climate disruption, geopolitical instability, social polarization, and the rapid rise of AI are transforming the way we live, work, and solve problems. Entrepreneurs play a crucial role in this landscape. They create jobs, drive economic growth, and offer pathways to social mobility. But more than that, they develop innovative solutions to complex problems. They take risks, challenge the status quo, and reimagine how things could be done better. When we think about what makes a startup succeed, most people focus on the idea. But in my research with colleagues, we found that one of the most powerful predictors of success is actually how the founding team is formed. We discovered that the most successful startup use a hybrid team formation strategy. That means that they build on interpersonal trust, teaming up with people they know and feel safe with, and they ensure instrumental complementarity by bringing people with different skills, expertise, and networks. These combinations allow teams to develop what we call a transactive memory system, a shared understanding of who knows what and who does what on the team. This helps teams divide roles clearly and coordinate effectively and learn faster together. And the results are striking. In a study of Kickstarter campaigns, teams that use this hybrid strategy raise more than twice as much funding as those that relied on just one approach alone. In a startup competition, teams using the hybrid strategy increased their first-year survival rate from just 10% to nearly 40%. So, if you're launching a venture, don't just focus on the product. Build your team with intention. How you build your team could be the difference between surviving and thriving. Yes, structure matters, but it needs to be flexible. Startups grow and change quickly. Team members need space to take on new roles, develop skills, and respond to shifting demands. But without some structure, chaos can set in. Clear responsibilities help teams coordinate, reduce friction, and stay aligned as they scale. In early stages, the best teams strike a balance. They create just enough structure to enable learning and coordination, but keep things fluid enough to support growth and creativity. Investors often focus on the idea, market size, and scalability. But just as crucial, sometimes more so, is the founding team. Do they have what it takes? Do they bring complementary skills? Can they handle the pressure, adapt quickly, and keep learning? For many top investors, it's not just about the funding. It's about adding value. They ask, can I help this team succeed beyond capital? Oren Zeev, an INSEAD graduate and one of the Silicon Valley's most successful solo investors, embodied this mindset. He backs founders early, driven by evidence, not just storytelling. And he looks for teams deeply committed to the problem and open to partnership. Zeev brings more than money. He offers sharp questions, strategic clarity, and operational insight, while giving founders the space to lead. His approach has fueled successful companies like Audible, Tipalti, Next Insurance, and Trip Actions. What sets successful entrepreneurs apart is how they think and learn. In fast-changing environments, it's not enough to be a quick learner. Successful entrepreneurs are also willing to unlearn, to revisit their assumptions, update their beliefs, and adapt based on new evidence. My research shows that teams improve most not by avoiding mistakes, but by learning from them systematically. This means creating a psychologically safe environment where errors are openly discussed, feedback is used constructively, and past knowledge isn't clung to rigidity. Successful entrepreneurs are also committed. They are passionate, but not married to their ideas. They blend emotional commitment with intellectual humility. And finally, they stay focused on the long run. They need to be resilient and adaptable to become successful. A great example of this mindset is Melanie Perkins, co-founders of Canva, the global visual design platform now used by over 100 million people. Perkins started with an idea of making a yearbook design easier to students in Australia. But she and her co-founders continuously evolved the idea, unlearning early assumptions and adapting to what users really needed. She faced over 100 investor rejections before secured funding, all while refining the vision and learning from setbacks. Her ability to blend persistence and flexibility and to lead a culture of continuous learning and feedback helped Canva grow from a niche tool into one of the most successful design platforms in the world. I spent years studying what's known as the paradox mindset, the ability to embrace contradictions and stay engaged with tension, rather than rushing to resolve it or choose one side over the other. For startups, that often means being flexible and structured, decisive and reflective, optimistic and realistic, sometimes all at once. Teams with a paradox mindset don't get stuck when facing competing demands. Instead, they learn to use that tension as a source of creativity. And the good news is that this mindset isn't fixed or innate. It can be developed or learned. It begins by asking different kinds of questions and being willing to lean into discomfort. One powerful example comes from a COVID-era project at the Weizmann Institute. A team of scientists faced a pressing challenge. How can we test large populations both quickly and accurately? Speed and accuracy are typically seen as trade-offs. The faster you go, the more you risk mistakes. The solution was a two-stage PCR testing system. First, they tested pooled samples to increase efficiency. Then, if a pool tested positive, they tested individuals to ensure accuracy. This approach allowed them to scale testing without sacrificing reliability. That's kind of thinking. Holding opposites together rather than choosing between them is the core of creative problem solving. When people stop framing tensions as either-or choices and instead ask, how can we do both? They begin to reframe tensions as opportunities. And that shift leads to more innovative ideas, better conflict resolution, and stronger problem solving. So first, choose your team wisely. The most important decision you will make is who you choose to work with. Look for people who complement your skills, who challenge your thinking, and you can generally trust. We found that the best co-founders and collaborators aren't just competent. They are people you can learn with, build with, and grow alongside. Over time, they often become your closest allies and friends. Second, work on problems you care deeply about. Fall in love with the problem, not the solution. My research shows that people are more likely to select and pursue novel, impactful ideas when the problem resonates with their personal identity and values. When the work feels meaningful, you're more willing to take risks, stay curious, and persist, even when the path is difficult or unclear. Third, stay curious and focus on learning, not just performing. It's totally normal to aim for flawless execution and quick wins, especially in high-pressure environments. But my research shows that when people focus only on performance, trying to look smart, avoid mistakes, or succeed fast, they often burn out or fall into the same familiar patterns. If you want to stay creative and adaptable in the long run, you need to become more learning-oriented. That means staying curious, being open to feedback, and treating challenges as opportunities to grow, not as threats to your competence. In one of our studies, we found that people with a learning orientation were far more likely to sustain their creativity over time, even later in life. In contrast, those who were focused primarily on performance struggled to keep their creativity going over the long term. So instead of just asking, did I succeed? Try asking, what did I learn?